Welcome to Two Guys.
A girl.
and an MBA.
Todd Klein says, "What will happen when America takes all its auto industry back?" So, what do we think about? I mean, what auto industry? Does there
Uh,
still an auto industry in America or in
I think it's
Canada?
not a good thing. Any limitations? I think business should have an opportunity build the manufacturing factory anywhere in the world. Depends on the conditions. And if it's like you have to be in the US and that's all, no, don't go to India or somewhere. For business, it's not good consequences, in my opinion. But who knows? Maybe Trump, especially in the US perspective as a country, it's can be some development, but I'm not sure because it's you should have so many parts of the car and produce it locally. Is it even possible to make it domestic, everything?
Uh, yeah, I mean, Canada is already under pressure from the Trump administration, but they're so integrated with the U.S. because we have a city, Windsor, and Detroit is the major manufacturing center for cars because that's where Ford started it all or moved there. So
Used to
it's
be.
like
Detroit
used
used
to
to
be,
be the
used to be.
yeah.
And that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to move it back there, revitalize the industry. They think that they have a lot of capacity in American factories for cars that are not being used, so they're going to use up capacity first. But that's just to assemble it. But the parts are made all over the world,
Yeah.
integrated with Canada. Also, there's parts that move from Canada to the U.S., back to Canada, back to the U.S., back and forth across that bridge, which is it's separated. Detroit and Windsor are separated by a one bridge. It's
Mm.
almost like a seamless border. Um, I just think he's poking everything right now, and he just sent out another signal to Apple. He's going to hit them with 25 or 40% additional tariffs if they do not move the Apple production back to the United States.
I
So,
think it's deserved lawsuit again, one more, because it's
yeah, you're still hoping for impeachment. Not happening. It's
we'll
not coming under the
see.
Christmas tree. It's not happening.
Christmas, half of the year till the Christmas. We'll see what will be.
Yeah, you got some
We
time.
have
I mean,
two
what
lawsuits from Harvard. Maybe Apple also wants to
what
set some
what
lawsuit.
I think is not coming is American manufacturing back to America. I think it's dead and gone. I'd
Mm-hmm.
like it's just PR. Like I said, what auto industry? Does Canada manufacture cars? Like
Yeah, yeah.
Europe barely can manufacture cars at profit. There are European car manufacturers, but they struggle to compete with the Japanese, the
Mm-hmm.
Chi Chinese. The China. We would all be driving Chinese EVs, but for the tariffs. That the tariffs like 100% plus.
Yeah.
They now manufacture a car that's basically like an improvement on a what is it? It's like an improvement on a Prius. I think BYD is the company. You can buy it on the stock market, and they make an electric vehicle that can compete with Tesla and all the rest, and it's
Yeah.
like 30K or under 30K direct to consumer. And in the US, it's above 60K. You know, I'm
Yes.
ballparking these I'm
It will be
ballparking these
cheaper
figures.
buy
Yeah.
and transfer through Atlantic the
Yeah,
car.
it's cheaper to drive, or
Cheaper to
it might
buy
be
and
cheaper to
transfer
drive your car all the way across the ocean or whatever, you
across
know.
Alaska, yeah, and Canada.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's what about labor conditions, salaries? It should be the high salaries for employees who wants, especially is immigrants, all will be departures, and they're like, hey, just locals, Americans, go ahead, work fast. But what about salaries? From where? From where the Trump gets money to pay salary? That's...
I don't think it's a master plan. I think it's an overarching philosophy, and he's going to break stuff. And if he gets 10% return on this philosophy, I think there's another report that the Treasury had record inflow of money. Not all attributable to tariff, but this was the second highest, I think, year or quarter in many, many years. So their money's coming into the US somehow. Yeah, it's like watching a circus, There's like five rings, there's an elephant, there's the hairy man, there's like, I mean, you don't even know where to look anymore. You just kind of, okay.
Enjoy.
Enjoy, it's a circus.
Enjoy.
Whatever happens.
Take a popcorn and enjoy.
Yeah, eat
That's
some
all.
popcorn. If they serve beer, get a beer and just like
Hot dogs?
everybody
I,
relax.
Yeah, I'm just considered as anti-competitive because it's like if China's solving the problem of the EVs better and faster, why are we going to block it? Like, because all you're going to do is block the technology transfer from China back to the US. Like if you get the cars over there in masses, you can reverse engineer them and make them cheaper and more efficiently in America. And and plus it's bad for consumers at a time where people are spending a lot on gas and having to buy replace their vehicles more often. If China is solving the EV question, why are we, I guess it's because Elon Musk is there, but you know what I mean? Like it's why are we subsidizing worse technology, uh leaving climate out of it just for the consumers alone? I think it's I think tariffs can be a good thing when done like in moderation, but slapping 100 200% tariffs, a car that's 30K to make, or sorry, 30K at market to sell, now 60K plus, people can't afford it. It has to compete with Tesla now. So you're basically subsidizing less efficient tech, less efficient companies, uh,
Yeah,
so they
but
can charge premiums
that
for
that's
worse
that's
cars.
the American argument
It's
that
the American
you
way. I thought you were going to say.
well, the American argument is the tech that China is using right now has been tech that somebody else developed and they made it better. The American argument is they can do cheaper cars because they're massively subsidized, right? They use lower labor costs. The government subsidizes the infrastructure, the building. That's not, when you say competitive, the American argument is that's not competitive. Competitive is Elon Musk, who saw a couple of guys who were building an electric vehicle and he financed them for the first 10 years, nearly went bankrupt one Christmas Eve while he just pumped money. He built this whole industry by himself. There's and his money, and then China comes along with a government and subsidizes the entire space. And I can say that's the American argument, and so this is the American solution to that argument. It's like, hey, it's not fair, and we're gonna say we're gonna inflate the prices so that now economically, if you don't want to put these parameters that we have in America on your own company, we're going to do it for you. So that's the argument. And they don't want to give up the EV space. I mean, they're okay giving up t-shirts. They don't care. They don't want to really make t-shirts or those Lululemon pants in Idaho. But the EV market, they're saying, no, we're not going to outsource that. We're not ready to give it up to cheaper, compromised tech. And that's not all part of the agreement. And but as a sidebar, again, Elon Musk always said that patents are for the weak. So he everything they do with Tesla, he just said, you know what? It's for the weak. So he's anti-patent, and this is the end effect. But the American, I guess, the administration saying no, we don't want that. We don't think it's fair. That's the American argument. I don't
Yeah,
disagree.
I guess it's just like, oh, Chinese laborers are more efficient. It isn't fair. I mean, that's kind of, I hear what you're saying. It's subsidized by the government, but it's like, you know, so are Ford and GM. They were bailed out in 2008. They were subsidized for long. I mean, in the 1950s, going all the way back to the mid 20th century, the roads in the U.S. were subsidized by the federal government. Without the huge highway system in America, you don't have the entire trucking industry today. You don't have cars. Before that, then Eisenhower, I think, built it, as
Yeah,
the excuse, the justification was to roll, military equipment back and forth in case of a Russian invasion, which never came during the Cold War. But
but but
this was a huge boon to the car makers. This is a direct subsidy.
but
You
that
know, if
but that wasn't exported, right? That was an internal in the country benefited in if you're going to subsidize in your own household, you benefit in your household. But if you
yeah,
subsidize in business model that's subsidized and go compete with somebody else who's not subsidized, the government's saying no. And that's why
yeah.
they're trying to open up the market for Ford and domestic car companies into Europe because they, again, a tariff
Yeah,
there.
but like, would you
Uh,
ever buy a Ford? Like, they make trashy cars. Like, no offense. Like,
well,
I would never
you
buy a
gotta let the
Ford or
consumer.
G.
Wait, Ford
But
is very popular in Ukraine. It's
there you go.
affordable. You can buy it. It's cheaper than Tesla.
Wow.
And mostly what I can say, I see Hyundai, I see Ford here, Renault. Volkswagen, but it's like Volkswagen Polo. I see a lot of such kind of car. So don't
Okay.
But
blame
you see,
Ford. Ford is okay.
but
Ford is wow.
she's arguing from the consumer having choice to buy, right? If you're
Yeah.
restricting it, there's no consumer gets to vote. It's just like the government says no. Okay, well, I mean, I'm okay for competition, and if you have a crappy product, let the consumer vote.
Please consider subscribing below.
Thank you for being with us. Please leave your comments, feedback, what you think about us, and see you in the next podcast. Bye.